Welcome to Lion Pride Sports. I'm Marina Bach.
And I'm Andrew Rogers. We've got a great show lined up. Let's get right into it. Lindenwood men's basketball could not get out of its offensive slump on Tuesday night. The Lions took on Lincoln University for the second game in a row, falling by a score of 67-51. The Lions allowed Lincoln to go on a 12-0 run early in the first half and could never get the game back to 2 possessions the rest of the game. Lindenwood had a season low in field goals and three-pointers for the game, as well as tying their season high in turnovers with 15. The Lions fall to 14-11 on the season and 6-10 in conference play. They take on UCM at home next Saturday.
Women's basketball traveled to Jefferson City Monday to take on Lincoln University. The Lady Lions had their first overtime contest of the season. They outscored Lincoln 10-4 in the overtime and won 81-75. They are 14-11 overall and 6-10 in the MIAA. Their first season of 3 home games will begin Saturday against University of Central Missouri.
The number 23 ranked Lindenwood Lions wrestling team placed 4th at the MIAA tournament on Sunday. The Lions placed 7 wrestlers, including a first-place finish by Austin Stouffer. Stouffer is the first true freshman in program history to take first place at the MIAA tournament. Hunter Harrelson fell in his championship match, and Nate Trepanier placed 3rd. Lindenwood will travel to St. Cloud, Minnesota on February 23rd to compete in the NCAA Division II Super Regional.
Lindenwood's women's lacrosse won their season opener against the University of Indianapolis 11-7. The Lions trailed in the first half, allowing the Greyhounds to lead 6-5. Lindenwood exploded in the second half, scoring 5 goals. The defensive held up Indy to just 1 goal in the second half. The Lady Lions will host Queen's University of Charlotte this Saturday for their home opener.
Number 17 men's lacrosse took to the road for their season opener. They took down Young Harris with a score of 17-11. After a slow start, the Lions outscored the Mountain Lions by a 9-4 margin, but only led 9-6 at half. The Lions didn't spark the scoring again until the fourth quarter, after Callan Domack found the back of the net. That goal started a 4-0 run by the Lions, now putting the game away. Lindenwood will be in action again on February 23rd with its home opener versus Montevallo.
Lindenwood men's volleyball team traveled to Chicago, Illinois to take on Loyola Chicago. They fell 0-3. The loss dropped the Lions to 6-5 overall and 1-3 in the MIVA. Lindenwood did have a bright spot in the game. Michael Jennings led the team with 14 kills, 6 blocks, and 4 digs. Next, the Lions will travel to Ohio State Thursday, February 15th.
The Lindenwood women's ice hockey team fell to number 10 Robert Morris over the weekend. The Lady Lions dropped the first game of the series, surrendering 1 goal in the loss. Jolene DeBrun registered 35 saves in the game. In Game 2, the Lady Lions were bested by a score of 5-0. Robert Morris took 75 shots in the game. Lauren Hennessy made her collegiate debut in goal and had 32 saves. Lindenwood falls to 8-17-1 and 6-10 in conference play. Their final home series of the season comes next weekend against Syracuse. Up next, Romero Stark sat down with track and field coach Scott Roberts.
After that, we will take a step into the Lions Den to highlight the top performers of the week. Don't go anywhere.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
Finally, we found his assignment. He rushed through it. I wonder if he even learned anything.
I wasn't gonna get it right, so I just wanted to get back to playing my video game. At least I'm good at that.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Ma.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Welcome back to Lion Pride Sports. We are sitting down with track and field coach Scott Roberts. How are you doing today, Coach Roberts?
I'm real good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
So, first of all, I just want to start off talking about your season. You guys have been off to a great season so far. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, we've gotten through the first month of the season. We've had a few injuries and a few illnesses, as you do in January and February. But we've performed very well up to this point. We've had meets at Purdue University, Eastern Illinois University, and Principia, and this last weekend we were at Pittsburg State, which was a big 300-meter track, so that was really good.
Okay. So just speaking a little bit about the Pittsburg State meet, that was the Gorilla Classic, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about some of the highlights of that meet. I was reading over it a little bit, but I'd like to hear it firsthand from you.
Well, we had some real good performances. We had several national qualifying marks in the meet. We had Ariel Jackson, who ran the 200 and 400 and hit provisional qualifying marks in each of those events. In the 200, I believe she was somewhere around 7th in the nation overall time-wise for the season. And then in the 400, it was her first 400 of the year, and she ran a school record and got onto the national list in the top 15 in that as well. And she also ran the 60-meter dash, so she had a busy
all over the
weekend.
place.
Yeah. We had Erin Hodge, who's had just an outstanding season so far. She's done some really, really great things over the last couple of weeks. A week ago up at Olivet Nazarene University, she set the meet record up there in the hurdles and hit a provisional qualifying time for nationals. And then this last weekend in the prelim, she ran 8:62, which was the number 2 time all-time at Lindenwood in the 60-meter hurdles, and I think it was the number 9 time nationally for the year, just having an outstanding season as well. Xavier Boland hit a provisional in the pole vault, and had Bumnini Nabelli made the finals in the triple jump, and I think he was the only conference competitor that made that final. We had teams, University of Nebraska was there, had a lot of Division I schools at the meet, so he has also hit provisional qualifying mark for the year and is doing an outstanding job. So we're very fortunate to have those young people in a program, and they're doing very well.
Gotcha. And if you could just do me a favor and explain to me what a provisional mark is. I was seeing so many of the athletes on your team are hitting these marks and hitting these national marks and these all-time marks. What does a provisional mark mean?
Okay, there's 2 standards. There's the automatic standard and the provisional standard. The automatic standard, if you hit that mark, you're going no matter what. Provisional standard, you are eligible to go once you hit that mark, and they take a certain number. Indoors, they take about the top 16 to 20 athletes per event. And then outdoors, I think it's more like 18 to 24 athletes per event. So they have to fill those spots. And so if you're a provisional, you have to kind of sweat it out until the end and see if you're in the top 16 or whatever they're going to take. And but if you hit that automatic, then you're automatically in the meet no matter what.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty impressive because, like I said, it seemed like every athlete that I'm looking at in your meets, it's like every other name you see, provisional. So you guys have got to be training like crazy, right?
Well, we're doing pretty well. You know, we don't have an indoor track at all, and which makes it a little bit challenging considering Pittsburg State has a 300-meter indoor track, and we have most of the schools in the conference do have indoor tracks. So we do the best we can with the facilities that we've got right now, and that's. I think as we get into the outdoor season, then we have a very, very fine outdoor track, which will be good. But we're training hard, and I think good things are happening. We do compete in the strongest conference in the country in Division II in the MIAA. So it's a very, very competitive conference, and it's tough. So,
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about Erin Hodge, and she's one of many that I've seen on your team that are setting Lindenwood records and making their way up those all-time Lindenwood rankings. What do you think of her as an athlete and how she's done so far just over the years that you've coached her?
She has just matured tremendously, especially from her sophomore year to this year. She's made a giant leap forward. Talented hurdler. She does what I ask her to do, and the hurdles have always been kind of my thing, so she's just made tremendous strides this year. I think last year she most of the time was around 9 seconds for most of the indoor season. Got down a little bit under that by the end of the season, but this year she's been in the 8s the whole time. She ran 8:62, which was her personal best on Saturday. And then in the final, she ran 8:66. So those were the top 2 times that she's ever run.
Right.
And she moved she was like number 4, I think, after last year on the all-time list, and has jumped to number 2 on the all-time list. So tremendous joy to work with her.
Right.
And she's a leader this year on our team. She's one of our team captains, and doing a tremendous job.
That's great. And I'd like to hear, because I see a lot of the standout performers are they're upperclassmen. You're seeing a lot of juniors and seniors. So what are you seeing from some of your younger athletes that you're hoping that they continue to progress with?
Well, it's a learning process. Again, we compete in the strongest conference in the country. We go to Division I meets. So they're going to take their lumps early on, and as they mature and get better and see this good competition, it's going to raise their game, and that's what we find with our younger athletes is it's a progression, and my athletes tend to improve each year.
Right.
And so that's what we're looking for, those freshman, sophomore years. Oftentimes you're kind of learning and learning how to train, learning how to, even when you're a freshman, you're learning how to do your laundry for the first time. So it's a totally different thing. And I tell recruits when they come in, their freshman year, they may not do as well as they did their senior year in high school as far as from a time standpoint or whatever, because it's a totally new way of living, when they move onto campus and they're doing all these things for themselves, and things are changing. But usually they progress pretty rapidly, and we're excited about our future here at Lindenwood.
Great. So I just want to quickly ask you, you're coming up on MIAA championships as well as national championships in the next couple of weeks. What are some of the focal points you have there?
At this point, we're trying to give the athletes a little bit more rest. We're trying to get them healed up. We've had some injuries. We run on a square indoor track here when we practice, and that's been a little rough on some of the athletes. So we're getting to the point where we need to rest them and get them healthy and get them ready to go. And so what we try to do is we try to peak the athlete for the conference meet and hold that peak through the national meet. And this year, the conference meet and the national meet are both at the same place. They're at Pittsburgh, Kansas, where we were this last weekend. So for those kids going to nationals, 3 of the last 4 meets are going to be on this big 300-meter track, where they can put up some really, really good marks. And we're excited about that. But what we do from this point to the end, the hay's kind of in the barn, and we're trying to rest them and trying to get them recovered and super compensated up to where they can perform at their best at the conference meet.
Gotcha. And one of the things you also have coming up is Night with the Stars.
Yes.
Explain that to me a little bit.
Okay, we are having a Night of the Stars. It's going to be on March 30th. And then the next day, we have a home track meet here, the John Creer Invitational. And the Night of the Stars, we've got about 10 to 12 Olympians that are coming in for this event. There's going to be wine tasting. There's going to be silent auctions. There's going to be even an Adopt an Athlete part of the program where people can, adopt an athlete, pay, win the bid, and then that athlete will, be able to email and correspond, let them know how they're doing over the course of the year. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle. It's going to be a tremendous event. We're expecting somewhere around 350 athletes, I should say, people coming to the event. And we think that it's going to generate a lot of money for our program that we can use then for upgrading our travel, upgrading our equipment, continuing to provide the best for our student athletes. And so we're very excited about this event and all the people that are coming in to help us celebrate Lindenwood Track and Field.
Great. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming in today. Had a great time talking with you, and I want to wish you the best of luck closing out indoor season and on into outdoor season.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. And thanks for joining us today. And coming up, we take a step into the Lions Den to highlight the top performances of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. You're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Oh, look at the rain. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star.
I dare you to stand up here.
To call the shots.
To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science like you.
Have a career that really means something?
Then do it.
I dare you.
Welcome back to the Lions Den. USA Olympic goaltender and Lindenwood alum Nicole Hensley had an outstanding game against Russia with 13 saves. The match ended with a score of 5-0. USA is now 2-0 in the tournament. This means Team USA will now take on Canada on Thursday to qualify for a spot in the semifinals. Hensley has fallen into some hot water with the Statue of Liberty decal on her helmet. The IOC deemed the decal as a political symbol which is banned during competition. Hensley's response was, "I'm not sure really what happened. I'm just focused on playing the game. Our equipment guys take care of the equipment and we take care of what is going on the ice."
Lindenwood men's cross country received academic honors from the USTF CCCA recently. The entire men's team earned the All Academic Award for having a team cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher. The Lions had a team GPA of 3.38. 3 individuals were also honored having a cumulative GPA of a 3.25 or higher. The athletes that received this award were Jared Broadcooks, Clayton Dutchacek, and Omar S. Salmony.
Sophie Bulow was a player to watch out for this season, and she proved that this weekend. The 2-time All-American and team captain netted 4 goals and had an assist against University of Indy. The senior led the team with 48 goals last season and is already on a hot start this season. We look forward to seeing her in the play the rest of the season. That's it for Lion Pride Sports. I'm Marina Bach.
And I'm Andrew Rogers. Thanks for joining us on the Lindenwood Sports Network.